welcome back. We come to the third and final part of the vocabulary section. As you can see on the screen, we begin with prefix. A prefix is basically a word or words that are added at the beginning of a word, and they add to or change the entire meaning of the word. Keeping that in mind, we have with us the first set of slides, that is bio. So we have biology, biography, biotechnology, biosphere, so on and so forth. So the idea is we have understood prefix, anything that comes before the word. So we're using the word bio as a prefix. These are words that we are already familiar with. So I would not be spending much time discussing about the meanings of these words. So we'll just quickly move along. Uh, so we have the next set of root word, that is D, DE. So DE actually, D is a root word which means actually to be away from, which is opposite, or which is down. So that is the meaning of the word, that is DE. So we have four different words: defoliate, decompose, defame, and deface. So these are some examples of prefixes. So the idea is that the moment we add a word before any given word, that is the addition of prefix, it changes the entire meaning. So we have on the one hand compose, compose as in composition, making something. The moment one adds the prefix de, which I repeat means away from, opposite, or down. So decompose, it means a totally different thing altogether. So that's how a prefix actually works. Suffix, so letters added at the end of a word, that is your suffix, and it modifies the very essence, the very meaning of a word and frequently determine its function within a sentence. That is what a suffix does. And let's see some examples of suffix over here. So we have ly as used as suffix: noisily, happily, worldly, cheerfully. I think in the first part of the vocabulary section, we discussed briefly about the word happy. So the moment happy is an adjective in terms of the part of speech of the English grammar. If one is to take the word happy, happy is adjective. The moment one adds an ly, happy, which was adjective, it becomes an adverb. So happily is an adverb. Likewise, the word cheerful. If I say that this person is a very cheerful person, so the cheerful is an adjective. The moment one adds an ly, cheerfully, it becomes an adverb. Likewise, we have worldly, we have noisily, and happily, besides happily and cheerfully. So these are your suffix and how it has been incorporated. So it changes the entire structure, the entire meaning of the given word altogether. Next, we have able, that is the suffix used as suffix. Mind you, these words, they are interchangeable. So the word able could be used not as a suffix. It could be ability in that way. So that is not a suffix. That is coming before. So that is a prefix. So on and so forth. So mind you, there's no airtight uh, concept when it comes to these words. So able can be used either as a suffix or as a prefix. So in terms of prefix, if I say ability, so able comes before that, so that is a prefix. The moment able, as in if it comes after at the end, like valuable, eatable, palatable, acceptable, that is the suffix that we know of. All right. Moving on, the word families. So word families, they create a family of similar and its opposite meaning words, keeping in mind the intensity and contextual usage of words. So we have with us this particular word family. We have in the middle, right in the middle, we have the word abundant. So abundant basically means a lot, something that is a lot. So we have six words. The top half and the bottom half, they are different, of course. The top half, that is bountiful, excess, voluminous, they are more or less, they are actually the synonyms of the word, of the central word that is abundant, which means a lot. So when one says bountiful, one says excess, one says voluminous, they do mean something that is a lot. They are the exact same meaning as to that of abundant. The lower half of this chart, that is scarce, minuscule, and scanty, they are the opposites. They are the antonyms of the word that is given, abundant. So scarce, very less, scanty, again the same, minuscule, again the same goes for minuscule as well. So we have abundant right in the center, and these are the antonyms and the synonyms of this particular word. So this is actually how one can associate words, and that's how one can expand his or her vocabulary one way or the other. Now, we move to a very interesting aspect of this particular exercise. We are going to be discussing the Pictorial Association in order to improve one's vocabulary. So, we have with us uh, two very contrasting images to begin with. On the left-hand side, we have the image of Amrish Puri. On the right-hand side, we have the image of Mother Teresa. So the left-hand picture first. First things first. Amrish Puri. Basically, if you guys are familiar with the movie, this is from Mr. India, and Mogambo is the character that he's playing. Mogambo, the most notorious villain in the history of Bollywood. So villain, basically a bad person who does bad things. So that is there. On the right hand side, we have the image, the picture of Mother Teresa, someone who is known for her good deeds, someone who is the epitome of goodness that is there in the world. So this is the association, this is the pictorial association that we can get by looking at these two pictures. Now focus carefully on the next slide. Yes. So we have over here, right below the image of Mugambo, we have malevolent, malign, malicious, malady. Right below the image of Mother Teresa, we have benefit, benign, and benevolent. So, the important thing to note over here is that all the eight words that we have, they have, in a sense, the root word being used over here. So in the first set, the malevolent, maligned, malicious, and malady. In these words, we have the root word mal, which emerges. So mal is a root word which means bad. So by that very logic, any particular word that has the word mal in it, it has something or the other to do with bad. So when one says malevolent, someone who is very evil in nature, someone who is crooked, someone who is wicked in nature, that is malevolent. Just like the picture of Mogambo, someone who is villainous in nature, that is malevolent. Maligned basically is the act of compromising, the act of destroying something, that is malign. Malicious again is something that is very bad, something that has an evil influence. Malady is a disease, and a disease is not a good thing to begin with. So again, like I said, so all these words, they have something or the other to do with bad. Uh, Emerging out from the word mal, we can have numerous other words like maladjustment, malnutrition, etc., etc. So that's how it works. So in a sense, what I would like to focus over here, stress over here, is that root word is very, very essential when it comes to expanding our overall vocabulary. Now let's move on to the other side of the picture, other side of the slide. That is benefit, benign, benevolent, benediction. So the root word that is being incorporated over here is that of ben, ben, ben. So ben basically means good. So we have good and evil, good and bad, sorry. So benefit is something that is useful to us. Of course, a good thing at that. So benefit, that is benign. Benign is someone or something that is very gentle and very kindly in nature. So that is the meaning of the word benign. So someone who is kind, someone who is gentle, that is a good thing at that. So hence the association with the image of the picture of Mother Teresa. Benevolent. The meaning of the word benevolent is someone who is very giving in nature, someone who is very generous in nature. That is the meaning of the word benevolent. The last word is benediction. So benediction basically means uh, an act of prayer. And prayer, of course, praying is of course a good thing at that. So benediction is prayer, praying, the act of praying, hence a good thing. Hence its association with Mother Teresa. So this is how the whole idea of pictorial association works. One thing to notice is that apart from Ben, B-O-N, bon, also means good. Ben, ben is good. It is a root word which means good. Another word, another root word which means good is bon, bon, bon. Like in the French language, we have usage like bon voyage, bonjour, bon appetit, etc., etc. So these are all they all mean good. So in that sense, ben and bon, they mean good. So that's how it works. Now, this is actually an interesting slide coming through. So yes, we have, mind you, this is a pictorial association exercise. So we have the image of Amitabh Bachchan, and in front of him, we see this bottle of alcohol, and we can clearly we can clearly make sense of what is going on over here. Amitabh Bachchan is clearly an alcoholic man, and he seems someone who is quite self-destructive in nature. Well, the word that we have over here is bacchanalian. Mind you, this is just for the whole stressing on the whole idea of pictorial association. The spelling is different from the actual surname of Amitabh Bachchan. Uh, Here it is Bachhanalian, Bacchanalian. And Bacchanalian basically means someone who is alcoholic, and someone who is so alcoholic that that person is destructive in nature. That is the meaning of the word Bacchanalian. Next, we have this image of a disaster, of a disaster taking place, and the word that comes up over here is catastrophe. So catastrophe is a disaster causing widespread mayhem, widespread chaos all across. That is the meaning of the word catastrophe. Now we have over here on the screen image of a relay race. So relay race basically involves four athletes, four runners, and a baton is passed on from one player to the other. So that's how the whole idea of a relay race work. So the whole point is the word that emerges over here is synchronize. So synchronization, as we discussed in the second part of the vocabulary section, the whole orderly fashion, orderly manner of things happening, things unfolding. So there's a whole synchronization that needs to take place, and that's how the whole relay race functions. So that is synchronized for you. Now we have the image of the atomic bombing that happened in Japan during the World War. So, this image is something that totally created a chaos all across Japan altogether. And the word that we have is Holocaust. So, Holocaust is something that is massively destructive in nature. Mind you, the word Holocaust is using a very interesting root word, which is whole, H-O-L, whole. So, whole basically means something that is all inclusive. So, that is the root word HOL, whole, meaning all inclusive. Using the same root word HOL, whole, we can also have other root words. And the other root words, we can also have other words deriving from the root word HOL, whole, like holistic or holistical approach. So a holistic or a holistical approach basically is something that is all encompassive, which covers everything in that way. So that's how a root word, I stress this again, root word is very essential. So whenever, if we have a thorough understanding of root words, what can basically happen, what can basically emerge out of that is, if we do have a clear understanding, clear knowledge of root words, any other words that are there that we come across in entrance examinations, because we are aware of root words, using that particular technique, we can make sense of difficult, complex words, and that's how one can expand one's vocabulary by and large. That's how it works. Now, we have over here on the screen image of a man, basically a king. Uh, we have the throne, we have the crown, and of course, it is very self-explanatory in nature that this is an image of a king, and the word that we have over here is that of a monarch. So monarch, as we discussed in the previous video, the second part of the video of the vocabulary section, mono plus arc. Arc meaning is to rule. Mono is single. So a single person ruling. That is the concept, and that person is a monarch. The king is a monarch. And monarchy is the system whereby a king rules over his subjects. That is monarch or monarchy. Yes, we have we have on the screen image of a really hairy person, a hairy man. So the idea over here is a very hairy man who is almost similar, who is almost resembling that of an ape. The word that is to be used for such a person is hirsute. Hirsute, hirsute. So hirsute basically means someone who is very hairy in nature. That is hirsute. Next up, we have image of Irfan Pathan, who is celebrating, who is very elated, who is very happy. And the word that is used to describe those exact set of emotions, that is euphoria. So euphoria basically is something that happens, it is almost equivalent of a victory, a celebration of happiness. That is euphoria. So with this we come to the end of the pictorial association exercise bit of this vocabulary exercise. Next up, we move to idioms. So in terms of idioms, what we need to understand is idioms are basically words or phrases or expressions that are not interpreted logically or literally, but there's an underlying meaning behind that. That is your idiom. So with this understanding in mind, let's just go on with the first set of idiom that we have for you. It's raining cats and dogs, and we have four options. The options are cats and dogs are falling from the sky. Second is it's raining very hard. The third is it's not raining at all. The fourth one is the weather is horrible. So, what could be the possible meaning of the idiom that is it's raining cats and dogs? Well, let's just see. We also have actually a hint over here, hint in terms of using this particular idiom in a proper sentence. So the sentence is, I can't go outside because it's raining cats and dogs, and I would get soaked. So this is the hint that we have. So the first one is cats and dogs are falling from the sky. Well, I'll just go back to the previous slide. In the previous slide, it mentions categorically that idioms are words and phrases or expressions that are not interpreted logically or literally. So the first and foremost and the most important rule of all when it comes to idiom is that an idiom can never be literal. So when we are faced with an idiom like it's raining cats and dogs, so it can never mean the literal it can never be the literal meaning of it. So the first one that says cats and dogs are falling from the sky, it is not even plausible to even begin with. So by that very logic, we can eliminate the first option. The second and third and fourth, we have it's raining very hard, it's not raining at all, the weather is horrible. So, yeah, the correct option is it's raining very hard. So that is the meaning of the idiom, it's raining cats and dogs. Next up, we have the idiom skeletons in your closet. And we have four options. The options are your closet is full of skeletons. Number two, you are hiding something in your closet. Number three, you have secrets or something you don't want anyone to know. Number four, you are not afraid of anything. Now, based on our previous understanding of idiom, that being that an idiom can never be literal in its meaning, in its essence. So by that very logic again, we can eliminate the first one, that is your closet is full of skeletons. So it cannot be the literal meaning of the idiom which states skeletons in your closet. So one is removed. The second one can also be removed by the very same logic apparatus. The second says you are hiding something in your closet. Again, closet, it involves closet, and it is literal in its meaning, in its essence. So we can let go of the second word altogether. We are left with third and fourth. Fourth, you are not afraid of anything. Uh, the hint that we have is why are you not answering my questions? Don't tell me you have skeletons in your closet. So this has nothing to do with the fourth. The fourth one has nothing to do with the option, with the hint. So we remove fourth. The third one is you have secrets or something you don't want anyone to know. So this sits very well with this particular hint that we have over here. So that's how we can make sense of idioms at that. The next idiom lined up for you is shake a leg. So what is shake a leg? The hint that we have is we are going to be late for the party if you don't shake a leg. We have three options: a dance move, hurry up, and you are nervous. So of the three, we can definitely let go of the first one, a dance move. So it cannot be dance move because it is literal. So it cannot be the same. So done with the first option. We are left with two and three. Hurry up and you are nervous. So we are going to be late for the party if we don't shake a leg. So we are definitely going to be late. So one needs to do things quickly, meaning it has to be the second option, hurry up. So shake a leg basically means hurry up. One thing to be noted is that when any question gets asked uh, based on idioms in entrance examinations, one thing to be noted always is that the accompanying sentence, any question that comes on idiom, the question is styled in such a manner that it is always accompanied with a sentence. The sentence is always there to help you out in the overall understanding of the idiom. Like we discussed the three idioms, we had the hints. Here we are going to be late for the party if you don't shake a leg. So the sentences, which in most cases would be accompanied whenever any question on idioms are asked, those sentences, they are there to help you out and not to confuse you. So you can always blindly rely on the sentences that are given as part of the question based on idioms. That's how it works. Now, we move on to the next set, that is food for thought. So these idioms are all about food. Can you explain what they really mean? So let's see what are those. So we have taking two bits of the cherry. Second is selling like hotcakes. Third one is playing gooseberry. The fourth and the last one is going bananas. So, what could possibly be the meanings of these four idioms which have to do with food? So, we'll just tackle one by one. First up, we have taking two bits of the cherry. Well, taking two bits of the cherry, we have the food cherry in it. It means second chance. It's all about the idea of having a second chance, the ability to go with a second attempt. That is the meaning of the word, of the expression, of the idiom, taking two bits of the cherry. Second chance, that is. The second one is selling like hotcakes. I am assuming that this is a very popular saying. Selling like hotcakes basically means something that is very popular, hence that are selling, getting sold rapidly. Like for example, an iPhone, it just gets sold like a piece of like hotcakes at that. So that is the meaning of it. Selling like hotcakes, selling rapidly because it is popular, because it is liked by a lot, by everyone, one and all. Uh, Playing gooseberry. Well, playing gooseberry, I'm not sure if you've heard of the expression playing the third wheel. So that is playing gooseberry. So if one goes out, if one is stuck in a situation where one is going out with with two other people, and those two other people happen to be lovers. So of course we have the third wheel over there. That is basically playing gooseberry. Playing gooseberry basically is playing the third wheel. The last one for the food related idioms is going bananas. Going bananas basically means going crazy, going bonkers. That is the meaning of the word, of the idiom going bananas. Now, moving on from food, we come to numbers. So, a lot of idioms are about numbers, and here we have the idioms based on numbers. All right. So we have dressed up to the something, talking dash to the dozen, one in a dash, playing dash, fiddle, and in dash heaven. So let's quickly discuss one by one what they possibly could mean. Well, dressed up to the nine is the expression, Nine, nine. So dressed up to the nine, this is the idiom, and the idiom means dressing up to perfection. When someone is dressed up to perfection, dressed to kill, that is expression. Well, so dressed up to the nine basically means dressing up to perfection. The second in the list is talking dash to the dozen. So a dozen basically means 12, of course. Talking, it is talking 19 to the dozen, 1 9. That is the idiom, talking 1 9, 19 to the dozen. The idea, the meaning of the idiom, talking 19 to the dozen, basically means when someone talks rapidly, when someone talks in a very fast manner, so fast that it becomes almost impossible, or too difficult for the listeners to grasp hold of. So that is the meaning of the expression of the idiom talking 19 to the dozen. The next one is pretty easy. One in a million it should be. So one in a million basically is someone who with something or someone who is very special, extremely special. That is one in a million. Playing dash fiddle. Playing dash fiddle would be someone who is playing the supporting role, or someone who is not the major attraction, someone who is not the hero or the heroine for that matter. So playing second fiddle is the idiom for this. The last one in the list is in dash heaven. It should be in seven heaven. So seven heaven basically is someone, the stage, the state where one is his or her happiest stage possible. That is in seventh heaven. Okay, so we have talked about food, we have talked about numbers. Now we are going to be talking about idioms that have animal references. So we have these are the related animal related idioms. The first one we've already discussed it. It's raining cats and dogs, meaning it is raining very heavily. The other four, I've got a dash in my throat. The next one, those are just dash tears. Next is he's taken the dash share. The last one is I can smell a dash. Well, moving on, I have got a dash in my throat. Basically, is an expression uh, whereby it means one having a very sore throat. So the animal or that is to be used over here is frog. So I've got a frog in my throat. Basically means I have a sore throat. I cannot talk properly. The idea, the origin perhaps could be that a frog croaks in that way. So it is similar to having that of a sore throat, rather. So perhaps that could be the reason why a frog is being used over here. So that's how it works. So I have got a frog in my throat, meaning I have a sore throat. The next one is those are just dash tears. So those are just crocodile tears. So crocodile tears basically is someone who is just pretending to be worried, pretending to be crying, but in reality, that person is not at all affected by whatever that is happening around. So that is just a farce. That is just a pretense. So those are just crocodile tears. The next one in the list is he has taken the dash share. The animal that is to be used over here is he's taken the lion's share. So lion's share basically is a huge chunk, a huge share. That is the meaning of the expression of the idiom. He's taken the lion's share. The last one of the animal imagery is I can smell a rat. So the meaning of the idiom I can smell a rat basically is when one is suspicious of a foul play, when one is suspicious of something not happening the way it should ideally be, when one senses that something is not going right, that is when one uses the expression, the idiom, I can smell a rat. So that is the meaning of the idiom, that is I can smell a rat. So moving on, I think yeah, so we would be ending this particular video, this particular exercise with some practice uh, exercise for you to work on. So we have with us on the screen 16, I believe, yes, 16 root words with their meanings. And as per the so we'll be concluding this particular exercise with these 16 root words, whereby the practice should be where you end up writing, you end up coming up with words that could be derived using these root words. So we have the first one, that is arm, ARM, arm. It means weapon. So one is to come up with words that could be originated, that could be derived from this particular word arm. So in terms of example, it could be basically and army, so or an armament. So when I say armament basically is military weapon, so it has something or the other to do with the word arm, that is weapon. So that's how one is to continue with this exercise of coming up with as many words as possible with the root word that is arm. Next up, we have the word bell. So the root word bell, it means war. So based on this, we can talk about, we can come up with words like rebellious or a rebel. So a rebellious person, a rebel is someone who is uh, who likes the idea of fighting, who is very spiteful in nature, who is forever ready to wage a war for that matter. So it has some sort of a similarity with the meaning that is war. So that's how it works. So bell, just like I just gave you the example of rebel and rebellion, you can also come up with various other words, as many words as possible as part of this exercise. The next one is carn and corp. Carn and corp basically means flesh or body. Like we have carnivorous, corpses, etc., etc. So one is to come up with words, various words that could be that use the root word carn and corp emerging from this word. Next is for, F-O-R-E, for, meaning prior to. So the words could be forehead, forearm, etc., etc. So they have some sort of allegiance to the meaning that is prior to, before something. Again, you can use the word before. Next root word is port. Port is carry. The meaning of the root word port is carry. Well, deriving from port, we can use words like portable. We can use words like export, import, etc., etc. They all involve something or the other to do with carrying. Next up, we have the word AV, AVI, AV. So AV meaning is either bird or to fly, something that is associated with flying. So one can say aviculturist, aviculture, aviculture, just like we have horticulture. Horticulture is the study of plants. Horticulture is the whole idea, branch of that. So aviculture is the study of bird species. That is aviculture. Or we can also say aviation. Aviation is about planes, about aircraft, etc., etc. So it has some sort of association with flying. Side, CID, side is pretty common. Side means to kill. So we have homicide, we have insecticide, pesticide, etc., etc. So we can come up with various other words. The next one is dole, DOL, dole, meaning pain and sorrow. So the words could be condolence, condolence meeting, condolence prayer, etc., etc. So a condolence meeting is it takes place in order to commemorate some sort of pain, some sort of sorrow that has that is there. So that is how it works. So the exercise, as part of this exercise, you are supposed to come up with as many words that you can write based on the root words and keeping in mind the meanings, of course. The next one is err, ERR, which means mistake or abnormal. So it could be erratic or error for that matter. These are the examples. The next one is grad or gress. I think, yeah, in the first part of the video, we talked about Congress. So Congress is movement. So the act of movement, Congress, that way. So we can from grad and gress, we can use Congress. We can also say transgress. So transgress again it involves movement, so on and so forth. The next is LOG, LOC, LOQ. It means speaking. So it could be a dialogue, a monologue, or we can also say loquacious, LOQUACIOUS. So they have to do with speaking one way or the other. Next is path. We've discussed path in the first video, of the vocabulary section, like sympathy, empathy, antipathy, apathy, etc., etc. So they have to do something or the other to do with feelings and emotions. The next one is sole or solely, one, alone, or only. So that is the meaning of the root word sole or solely. So it could be solitude, it could be isolation, etc., etc. So that's how we can come up with words based on these root words. Uh, the next up is sub. Sub is below or under. So some of the words could be subway, submarine, etc., etc. So they have, again, they are having their allegiance towards the meaning provided, below or under. Submarine, something that operates uh, below the ocean, in that way, under the ocean. So that's how it works. Neo and nov, meaning new. So neo and nov, it means new, and some of the words could be, if I say a neophyte, a neophyte, neophyte, neophyte basically is a beginner, an amateur person. uh, Other words could be innovation, coming from the word nov. Innovation is a new thing. So that's how we can come up with more such words. Gen basically means birth, class, or kin. Kin basically is family. So we can say uh, generous, sorry, we can say generation, we can say gender, we can say progeny, etc., etc. Progeny basically is a family line, the legacy, in that sense. So that's how it works. So with this, I come to the very end of the vocabulary exercise. So what I am asking of you guys is that we have 16 root words. So as part of your exercise, as part of practice, you can use these 16 root words and come up with as many words as possible, and expand your entire vocabulary in the process. So yeah, with this is the end of the vocabulary exercise. Thank you for your time, and all the best.